Solo Mike. It's Solo Mike. It's Solo Mike. Cheers. Welcome back. Welcome, ho. Welcome, ho. I said welcome, ho. Welcome, ho. Guys, it's a solo episode today. Starting off strong. It's me, Mike. It's your boy. You know? I don't remember the last time we did a solo episode. But I had to get the Miller. Because I needed a little help. Because I don't know what I'm going to talk about today. I got a couple things I want to bring up throughout the show. So maybe I'll just let you know them now. Before maybe if you're not interested, then you could just click off. But don't. Stay a while. Have a good time. I'm back from Texas. Wayward Kin. Shout out to everyone there. We're going to talk about it a little more. Maybe we can start off with that. But I have that. I want to talk about one conversation that when we had our good friend Jordan on the podcast, Jordan Toussaint, sick DP if you need some video work for a movie, for anything. He's just the best person I know. We had a little bit of a conversation a couple podcasts ago about music, about art, about all that stuff. And you're going to think I'm a K-bot, as people like it, but they were really talking down Kendrick Lamar, and I wanted to talk about the beef because there's new happenings and everything, and they shot me down. And I felt like I couldn't get my points across, and I want to talk about it because I think it's pertinent to just things I've been thinking about recently, and also it pertains to kind of like what they're doing in Texas with this movie. Like I want to talk about that a little bit. And then the last thing, I thought we'd have a good time and just talk about tariffs. Guys, anyone? You excited to stay tuned, huh? But let's do it. So if you're interested in that, you guys can stick around. If not, man, I'm just going to ramble for a little bit and we can call it a day. You know what I mean? Because Solo Mike is always, it's a mixed bag. We don't know what we're going to get. And, I think I've come to terms with that, and I appreciate that in myself. And, if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. So let's get on with it. O'Hagan Career Coaching. Welcome, guys. We want to introduce you to O'HaganCareerCoaching.com, run by our boy, Jim O'Hagan. He's trying to get you a job. That's what he's going to do. Look, Mikey, straight out of college, I sent maybe 5 resumes. I had no clue what I was doing. I put together like an automatic resume thing, resume builder, and guess what? Got no responses, and I failed. Luckily, that wasn't the end of it. Knew some people, got my, my networking going, and I started talking to people, and that's how I found a job. So we want to send you to O'Hagan because he's going to teach you that, it is about knowing who like that's the most important part really of getting a job. But for interviews, for sending resumes, like that's still a big part of it. So you got to be tip top shape for that. So you got to separate yourself from all these other people that are doing the same thing as you. And Coach O, he has 30 years of experience. He has a crazy network of people that you give access to if you take part in his services. So go to O'HaganCareerCoaching.com and start winning. Anytown Actors Lab. Let me tell you, acting, I say this every time, acting is a dying art form. And look, crazy to talk about this since just came back from Texas for the premiere of Wayward Kin by Anytown Pictures, aka Adam Louder, David Josephino from Anytown Actors Lab. Let me tell you, they know what they're doing. They're some of the last people still doing filmmaking and trying to like push actual sharpening of the tools of the acting tool belt. And when I started filmmaking, I had no clue really about acting. Even when I was like making stuff, I didn't really have an idea about it. But after, meeting with Adam and like getting to know him, I could see this guy has a passion for it and he loves this stuff. And he's passing that on to everyone else. And, he's got a bunch of testimonials. If you want to start learning for free, he's got the TikTok, he's got the In the Moment podcast, and he's just doing a lot right now. So I want you to support. I want you to, if you're trying to act, it's the best way to do it. You got to go to anytownactorslab.com and take a class. Shout out to the patrons, patreon.com/youareherepod. Pod. Not podcast, pod. Because we've been messing that up for 2 years. And we missed out on money. So we're going to have to get some people on there and to help us out. And thank you so much to everyone already, has helped us out. It's the best way to support us. You just throw us a couple bucks, $3. It's like a coffee, maybe not with this inflation, but get us halfway there to a coffee, help us out. So we appreciate it. And thank you so much. On to the episode. Let me get a beer or something. How have I been? Man, it's weird to talk about it because I just want to really get into the Wayward Kin stuff, but let's just update on life because we've kind of dropped the inklings of updates in my life throughout these podcasts. These past couple podcasts and the past couple months have honestly been some of the best, most fulfilling, most almost a feeling of completeness that I've ever felt in my life before. And I think there's certain times where you kind of feel that, in life, right? It's like when you have a great relationship with your family, maybe you get the job you've always wanted, or you've accomplished something you've been working at for a long time. I think there's moments like that you vividly kind of really hold on to deeply that change the course of your life. And I feel like that I've gone through that in the past, couple months from, if you haven't heard it before, hearing it now, Mikey's off the market. Mikey's got a girlfriend. All right. And I'll say it changed my life for the better. And it feels like it's something I've always been looking for. And this person that the coincidences of life is just too funny sometimes, where it's hard to really describe, but it's complex, but it's so simple, and I think that's just a theme for my life. Things that I notice in life is things are sometimes, it seems so complicated, but they really are truly so simple. It's like 1 + 1 = 2, and simply it's 1 + 1 = 2 with this relationship I have. So just know from that, I don't want to get too sappy into it, but I love someone and they love me back, and it feels like that truthfully 100%. And it's something I wish for everyone in life, to truly find someone. And I think some advice I can give, because I remember Dave asking me this and I have no clue what it was, what advice I can give to people and stuff like that. Because I know that's a huge thing, a huge problem, especially now. I think with just young people in general, it seems like it's harder for things to happen, and it seems like things are just bleak, maybe. Dating apps. You go out, nothing's really working out. And, it's this thing of you go out for, you have to put yourself out there and you have to face rejection, right? And you have to do that. Because if you don't, nothing's going to happen. But I always have been kind of a firm believer of this idea of the right thing is going to happen at the right time. And even things are going to happen at certain times that will make you a better person and get you to the places that you want to be, right? And I think that is true in the way I've kind of outlooked things. That's why I didn't really have a good, piece of advice, because it felt like I was just staying true to that thing. It's going to work out. You're not a terrible person. If you have these things in check, if you're not an asshole, if you're not a terrible person, if you treat people wrong, if you're working hard every day, you're trying, you treat other people good, you treat other people with respect, kindness, and you're also trying to better yourself, or try to at least better the world with your presence, with who you are, and grow, not just in yourself, but with everything. There's negativity that will come by, but I don't think there's any negativity that will grow from that, right? So it's this thing, you got to keep yourself in check all the time. That's just what you got to do, right? And I know that's hard, and I wasn't perfect at it, but I think just the advice I want to give is, if you always have that motivation behind everything you do, then I think that will get you to the places you need, and you will meet the people you need to meet. You will find the people you have to find, and life will be fruitful, So I wish that for anyone that's, maybe feeling down. I've been down before because of this specific reason, It felt like other things in life were chilling. When I was doing good, I'm like, man, I've been like trying so hard and doing all these things, but it feels like things aren't working out for Mikey. And sometimes it's hard to really grasp, especially when you're like 28 and you're still thinking that. It's funny how it hasn't even been a year yet with this relationship, but it feels like it's been like a decade, which is funny. But also just like it's validating. That feeling is validating because it makes me feel like I truly stuck to my core, right, of who I want to be and who I am. And, I'll say it, God lined me up with this person, and put those stars to align at some point, and cross. And at that point, like, it takes an action, right? It doesn't mean like you just don't do nothing all the time, but it takes an action to seal the deal, as we can say. And that's what I had to do. And it's funny because sometimes I always felt like, even like going on dates before all this stuff, sometimes I'm like, oh, like I really don't want to, and I'm forcing myself to sometimes like try. And I think it's good to try and like find someone. That's a totally valid way you can find someone. But I think that you'll know when that someone is right for you. You won't have to hold back things like immediately. You'll feel comfortable, right? And it'll just feel natural. And I subscribe to that. I think that's the way it is. I think that's the right way to do it. We shouldn't be like be like hedonist, right? Like that's the word. Shouldn't have like the pleasures all the time, right? Dave would look at me weird if I said that. Having the pleasures all the time. He would look at me very strangely there and make it gay. But that's my life, man. That's what I want to pass on to people, because I hear people that are having a tough time still, and it's funny because when you look at like, man, I don't want to seem like an asshole now, because sometimes when I look at people and they're running through the relationship after relationship to get to they're trying this person, that person, they're like, and then they get to a point of numbness where it's just like whatever goes. And I feel like that sometimes is just, it's a whole different story, and it's not a good place to be because we make habits. Humans are habitual. So if you keep treating that like relationships as it's like a claw machine, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, here we go. If you treat a relationship like a claw machine, like you're grabbing at these prizes as much as you can, and you get a squishy animal, and you're like, oh, I'm set for life now. What do you do with that prize usually? You don't touch it for years, right? So you don't want to think of it as a game. You want to think of it as a tree, as a plant, as a fruitful flowering tree. Yeah. Speaking of trees, that's exactly what my headspace has now become. It's trying to garden and find a tree for my front lawn. So that's where I'm at. Your boy's an adult now, doesn't even own a house, but lives in a house with a yard and wants to plant the tree because wants it to look good. And that is me. That is me right now. I'm old. I think I'm old now. I think I'm going to accept it. I'm an old man. And that's okay. And honestly, I kind of love it. It's kind of awesome, actually. I feel like I'm in my own skin, and I'm not afraid to say it. And that's that. Let's get into Wayward Kin. Look, so I was in Texas, in Archer City, to see the premiere of Wayward Kin, the movie that Dave, Adam Louder, Jordan Toussaint have all been working on for, I think now 2 years since shooting. I think longer of like pre-production stuff and writing and everything. But finally, we've talked about it on the podcast countless times for so long. And I got to see the movie. I got to see it in a theater. Now, we were in Archer City. Look on a map. It's funny. It's like it's so cool. Such a cool little corner of America. It's like 2 hours from Dallas, out in like oil rig fields. Like I'm rolling past the oil rigs. I'm stopping at Buc-ee's. I'm eating beaver nuggets. I'm gaining 5 pounds. I'm eating a brisket sandwich. I'm going down to these oil rig fields. I keep going. There's beautiful like sunset with windmills on the left side, oil rigs on the right side, cows in the corner. And I'm driving alone and I'm listening to just, I don't know, some sort of country, Texas sun, that song, you know? And I'm just living life, dude. And there's something magical just about that. But rolling into Archer City, you run straight through. You see, the first thing you see is the Royal Theater. Or no, wait, is it the Royal Theater? No, it's not. They're at the Royal Theater right now. Hold on. I need to look this up. I can't missay it. What is it? It is Royal. It is the Royal Theater. I'm stupid. The Royal Theater of Archer City, where I don't want to butcher it. You can ask Dave and Adam and Jordan about it. Where the Last Picture Show by Larry McMurtry was shot in the city, and I think also or is this in Dallas, where the guy that shot JFK hid in there or something like that. Ask Dave about it. He'll talk about it when he's on next time. But we're in this historical theater. It's like, you know, the boom of independent films started there. And we're in that theater now with the locals of the town where they shot this movie in this town and got so much help from all the locals. And just seeing, like, as a fly on the wall, like how excited they were being there. And it felt like they just knew the place so well. And I was able to kind of just absorb the energy of how everyone was so dang cool. And I'm so happy. And also made me so jealous that I was not a part of it when I could have been a part of it. But some things were obviously in life were not working out. So I had to not work on that film. But I'm jealous and I'm going to work on our next one, even if I'm just the coffee boy. But I'm going to be there. But it was really cool to observe. I did a lot of like observing. And normally when I do a lot of observing, I get a little self-conscious because I'm like, oh, I'm not like talking to a lot of people, but I don't know, like I felt super comfortable of just like taking it all in because it's so cool to see your friends like win, right? It's the coolest thing. I feel like that's truly when you know you got like lifelong, you know, friends and people you care about is when like I go from New Jersey for a weekend on Spirit Air all the way to just a random city in Texas. I rolled up, I parked, I walked 2 steps around a corner, and I see them just sitting there in cowboy hats looking sick. And I'm like, what's up, boys? And we're just there. And it feels so cool that there's this connection to this random place. And I'm able to join that world just like as a viewer, like someone listening right now, you know, like imagining coming here and like watching us do this right now, you know, it felt like that. It made me feel special. Maybe that's a good word for it. And I'm grateful that I went, you know, because I was close to not going. No, I was definitely going to go to this. But I was definitely like, man, I got to like really make the trek out there. And I got the flight super last minute because of scheduling stuff. But it was all worth it, man. And I couldn't miss that for the world. I had to make it. It felt good to support. And I could tell how much it must feel good for them to get support as well. They both told me. And it just felt like such a good thing to do for someone, And I want to encourage, if you're listening right now, to just like, everyone knows like a creative person, someone's trying to make something, or someone's got a small business, someone's got a little cafe, a restaurant, a painting business, they're a photographer. Like, go like a picture from them, or go get a picture taken, or go visit that place and go buy something and support, man. Because man, that means the world to people, just like a simple act like that. Like a simple thing, like a support of someone's dream, maybe, You could be fueling someone's dream and not even know it, right? That's a good way to live, Like every action you take could be fueling someone's whole existence in why they think they're alive, in why they want to like keep doing this specific thing, To want to keep getting better at something so that it catches the eye of maybe you or me, right? And that's a beautiful thing. That's something that you can only get through art. You know what I mean? So go do that. Go support people, man. Especially your friends. You know what I mean? People that are closest. Sometimes it's hard to do with the random people. If you're good at that, then that's a blessing. You know what I mean? But to your friends, definitely do something nice. Because I saw how much it meant to them. And let's talk about the movie. Hey, the boys made a banger. The boys did it. If there's any like word for them killing it and like going to a place, shooting for 11 days, ragtag group, got some funding. I think it was, I don't know what the budget was, but nowhere near what a normal Hollywood budget would be. And making something that means way more to more people than some crap that's being pushed out there for millions and millions of dollars, losing all the money it made, basically. It's just, man, seeing that, it pisses me off, but I want to be positive, man. I want to spread positivity. But it just really cemented that this whole movie like meant so much more than just it being a movie, And I feel like that's like a thing that can be done with every single project, every single piece of art. Like the best things that are made have that. They have a story behind just like the product, Because that's where the soul is crafted, in the actual work of it all. And if something's just like, you paid for every single position and everything's like a robot, like working together, it's most likely not going to be good, and most likely not work out great. So I'm just so proud of what they did for the whole movie. Like, and just, I don't want to like spoil anything, but just all the points that they wanted, like they worked, they came together. I saw a rough cut of the movie like way, way, way back. I think like a year almost back. And I was even like looking at it and like, man, like they were like worried about some things, or some things that they didn't get like shot on camera, and like they might have to go back and like do more. But I'm telling you, like once I saw the trailer that they did, which we're going to play right now. And we're back. After I saw that trailer, like I saw how I had a great feeling that they really brought it all together. And they did, man. They really did. They really made something that they should be proud of. And that, man, as a first feature film, like it's an immense accomplishment, I feel, I really do feel that. I mean that. So I'm proud of you boys. Appreciate it that you're keeping the independent film alive and not giving up on your dreams, because that's what life's about. And cheers to that. What's cooler than that, man? Your friends just making some amazing stuff. That's what life's about. It really is. Anything else about Wayward Kin? So I stayed there for 2 days, and I saw the movie twice, and we stayed in the Spur Hotel, which is this old, just, man, like you can feel the history coming through the walls. You know what I mean? And there's something beautiful about it that you don't get anywhere else. You know, I love the idea of I want to leave it off of this. I love the idea of Anytown Pictures, the production company that Adam and David made. The idea of like going, like any town can have a story, and it could be, you know, and it should be made into a movie. Like inspiration is everywhere, right? Everything, it comes from things that happen to you, you know. These are the inspirations of what all movies are made of. You know what I mean? Maybe not all of them, but you know, most of them. And the fact that, you know, people don't think that people made it that Hollywood is the center of it all, or New York is, you know, if you're not there, then you're nobody. Like that needs to stop, you know? And I think it has stopped, like naturally, just from people not being interested and, you know, seeing independent, you know, film and companies kind of make their things and succeed, you know? And how Hollywood is kind of just like not doing that great. And that has to say something, you know. So I subscribe to what Anytown Pictures is all about. I appreciate their cause, what they're trying to do, and if someone has some money, throw it at Anytown Pictures because you will not be disappointed. I'm hoping when they come back, when Dave is back here in seat, that we're gonna get a date or maybe a potential date of a New Jersey showing for the film, because I know that I really want people here to see it, and I know we'll get a huge crowd, and we got some connections and stuff that we could possibly handle and maybe figure out, but I think it'd be amazing to show it here on the East Coast too, in the home of where these people, you know, grew up, and also, you know, grew up in terms of living and grew up in terms of acting, which I feel like would be super magical. So I hope that happens. I hope Dave tells us more about that, and I'm excited because it would be extremely magical here. Oh my goodness, I almost forgot before we stop on Wayward. Yesterday, so I went for the 2 shows, but they also had a showing in Dallas at the is it the Royal Theater? Are they both Royal? Hold on, I gotta look. Just give me 1 second. Are they both Royal Theater? Is that what's messing me up? Hold on. Dead air. This is called the Texas Theater, I think, in Dallas. The Texas Theater in Dallas. They just had, and the Texas Theater is no wimpy little flimsy theater. Like, this is a actual theater. I think 250 seats. And they filled 250 seats. So, congratulations to Wayward Kin and all you guys. That is so huge. I'm telling you, I saw that. I woke up this morning. I was looking at Dave's stories because I guess I didn't look yesterday at all when it was happening. And I'm looking and I'm like, I see the movie theater full. And I was like, no way. There's no freaking way. But it's true. So that's even more just a testament to, like, man, the people coming out. Because, you know, Dallas is it's a little bit closer than, you know, maybe going out to like 2 hours into the countryside on like a Saturday night. You know what I mean? Like when there's nothing around, I guess. But even though, you know, I'm really thankful to the people that did show up to see the movie. It was so cool. It was actually in Archer City. It was like a lot of like older folk and like the local people that are just like, you know, they're like, oh, I can't wait to go home. Like, you know, I gotta wake up at 6 a.m. and after we, you know, see the movie, I gotta go home and go to bed right away. It's like, man, these are working folks that are trying to support, you know, and that's super, you know, we're very grateful for that. You know what I mean? but it's so cool. Also, it must be so cool for them to like see something that, someone cares about this little old town. You know what I mean? Like they want to show something to us. And I'm sure they're going to remember that for the rest of their lives. You know what I mean? It's a once in a lifetime thing. But think about how many different towns you can do that in. I think is the point. But in Dallas, 250 seats, like, this is downtown Dallas. This is, you know what I mean? Like this ain't no like this some rec game. They filled that thing out, and the response I heard was amazing. I see. This is my problem. I missed out on the good things. But I'm not gonna be jealous. I'm gonna be happy. But man, I wish I could be there. But I'm glad that I saw those pictures, man, of them in front of the theater. It's just, damn, I can't wait to talk to them about it. It's gonna be so cool. But I'm super happy for them. Like it's huge. It's very huge. So yeah, I'm proud of them. Very nice of everyone to come out and support. So many friends and stuff, and that's just the power of like trying to connect with local people, man, and trying to like show this thing that people like put their blood, sweat, and tears into, and like really cared about, the purpose of what they were trying to do and get done, and tell a story that's about like real, truthful, relatable things that everyone can watch and get something out of. You know what I mean? And I gotta sneeze. It went away. But yes, congratulations, Wayward Kin. Y'all killed it, and I can't wait to see it, and hopefully see a premiere in New Jersey. Moving on, well, I can connect this actually to the art kind of thing I was mentioning earlier in the show. This all stems from the notorious Drake and Kendrick Lamar rap beef. Now, if you're not interested, just turn this off. But your boy's still very interested and inspired by, hip hop, rap, all these like, this music, and just music in general. Obviously, I love all music and other things. But I don't know, I get this certain like feeling from this music that I really don't get anywhere else. I do get like some from other music, but I say I get it the most from rap, right? And everyone's got their opinions and stuff like that, and I totally get it. I just like what I like. I don't push anything on anyone. But I like to sometimes from this art kind of share those ideas of, why do people make art? Like that's fascinating to me, is like, what is the purpose of people, making things, and the relationship between, the artist and the consumer, and how that works, because it's such a weird thing. Because in my mind, you're supposed to make something because you don't care if people actually hear it or see it or listen to it or whatever. Like it should be coming from a place that is not like tainted by like material or financial like influence. Like I don't want to make this to make a bunch of money. You know what I mean? I think that's where the best like art is, when you're not like worried about that stuff. And I feel like there are, from that past conversations, is especially in the biggest rap beef, I guess, in history. It's hard to, it may seem like it's hard to really like argue how, money isn't involved, because it's involved and they're making mad money off of it. And the person I'm arguing for, Kendrick Lamar, is for sure making money off this. And I'm for sure is probably made music for money and does stuff for money and all this stuff. But that's not the conversation I want to have. I'm not saying these people are flawless. I'm not saying these people do everything correct, but I just want to take the information that we can learn from this whole thing, because I think it's really interesting, and I think it's really fascinating and inspiring with what, has transpired from all this. People even label it sometimes, the battle, as it's industry versus like artist, right? And it's been a lot of like that's the way a lot of people describe certain music or artists or whoever. You know what I mean? Like people like to really put labels on these people. When at the end of the day, I feel like what the labels aside and everything, like that doesn't really matter. Like all these made up things that people put on these people. The only thing that you can grasp onto is the facts, right? What actually happened. And we don't have all the facts, right? And we don't have all the truths, but we have what has came out of both of these people's mouths and what, you know, they push and what they kind of music they make, what they talk about in their music. It's not like it's a veil you need to like this like smoke you need to clear. It's all there. You can go into music and you can go and read it. You can take it in, you can ingest, and you can decipher yourself what it all means. And that's the beautiful thing, is like leaving it up to interpretation. I feel like it's great, you know? And I feel like that's a strength of Kendrick Lamar. And I'm a white boy talking about rap, and that's as cringe as it gets, and I don't care because that's what I like. So I'm going to talk about it. So the main thing I wanted to like bring up is the idea that music that is popular, right? Like Kendrick Lamar is, I think, the top streamed rapper right now, or was at some point and got knocked off, or whatever. You can say he's popular music. He's in the top charts. He's on the Billboard top 10. You know what I mean? Like he's got trillions of streams, multiple diamond plaques, all this stuff. We can't discount music for its popularity, right? Some music, I think you can, like, but it's not because I'm just saying because it's popular it's bad, or because it's popular it doesn't mean anything. I think like Taylor Swift songs probably mean something. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure a lot of songs she wrote about real stuff that happened to her, right? I could say I don't like Taylor Swift that much, but I can't knock that she probably, you know, she writes her stuff and does all that and makes music that is meaningful to people, you know? I think for me, the conversation that I had with David and Jordan, the main thing that irked me was the sounds so funny me going back to this. Jordan saying that Kendrick Lamar's pop music therefore does not matter. And I think he was part joking, which, you know, he was really pushing it. But I wanted to talk about it as like with art, it's cool to see, especially in rap. I think there's a lot of like, I don't know how to say it. Like, it's almost like rebellion and fighting for, you know, like the rights of people. It goes back to, you know, the history with that. You know, making music, making songs about, you know, politics, making songs about, you know, disagreements, and making songs about, you know, conflicts and stuff like that, and trying to fight for, you know, what's right, or just trying to fight for their own lives, you know? I feel like that's all valid in that music. And I think what fascinates me about Kendrick Lamar is the artistry that is able to be put on the same level, popular-wise, as these like pop rappers and pop songs and all these things, where you can say maybe it's popular. I kind of add like one of those like, we are recording buttons, like the red light button on the outside of our door, just so people don't freaking knock on our door while I'm recording and losing my train of thought. What was I talking about? What fascinates me with Kendrick Lamar is that he can be on the same level talking about these things and making like these like billion stream and like pop level songs, popularity wise songs, but still being able to implement like the art of it, the artistry. It's very fascinating. I feel like there is no one else, I'm going to say it, there's no one else that is doing that, like on earth, you know, in terms of like relating like his stories and music to like things that he's gone through and things that he's battling and just like subjects like politics, God, religion, like family, growing up, like all that stuff. Like there is no other person really doing that. And I think I just want that to be known, you know? It made me think that it seems like, you know, the only way to kind of, and I remember Jordan saying like, oh, instead of like listening to these like popular artists, you should be listening to more underground stuff, which I totally get too. You know what I mean? I think it's good to support like local stuff and lesser known artists, which I do. You know what I mean? I do love a lot of underground rap. Like that was my whole thing growing up. Going to like those shows and stuff like that. And I love finding like the artist or the group or whatever before it pops, you know? And I've done it a couple times, just saying. Hipster Mike over here, he's found a couple bands before they blew up. But jokes aside, I think there is a good argument that supporting someone like him, like Kendrick Lamar, that is still doing these things, I think that does good for the industry, because I feel like this person didn't have to sell his soul, you know, to, and look, I'm just talking with, I don't know fucking anything about him, right? I mean, I know some things because I watch like interviews and I watch like, you know, I listen to the music and all this stuff. Like that's my favorite things. You can get most of the things he's about through the music, which I guess you could say is whatever, doctored and fabricated and manufactured, but I don't think it is truly 100% fabricated and manufactured. I think it's what his thoughts. You can't say it's just all fake. You know what I mean? And I just think that is so rare with a lot of music and a lot of like just people in general. I think the fact that he can implement that and it be like number one and like chart topping. And I think it's just because he is popular does not mean that he is, you know, he is unable to help like lower artists and stuff and like help other people and all that stuff. Even like, I mean his last album it's funny because his last album GNX he put all these like not random, but you know, underground kind of LA artists on the album. Right. And it's right after the heat of like this beef and everything. And it's like, oh shit. Like who are the features? Oh, it's all just like local LA artists. You know what I mean? Which is like, it's funny because that was honestly my favorite thing. Cause it's like, oh, he's literally answering everyone's criticisms where they're like, oh, you're just you're a celebrity now. Like you don't help anyone from, you know, back in your town. Like you're in Compton or anything. Like you don't give a shit. And it's like, oh, well, he just proved that wrong. And he didn't have to say anything. He just does it. That's my favorite thing. That's awesome. So I think there's a benefit to like supporting like the good driving forces in industry, because I think like you can either be independent and like, it's funny. It's similar to what Anytown Pictures is, right? You can kind of relate it to Dave and Adam and Jordan and what they were doing with Wayward Kin. Is like they've talked countless times about how the industry is like there's a shortage in quality. You know what I mean? And we've talked about it with countless people, and you see it every day with movies. Just I don't know, like stories and everything right now. It's like I feel like there's just been this weird, like dreary shortage of good movies, like good story being shared. And most story isn't like coming from like humans. It's coming from just like, or maybe not, that's not the right word for it, but it's lazy almost. You know, it doesn't feel it doesn't feel as personal. It doesn't feel as thoughtful, maybe. So I say that to relate it to them, because you can either, go and dive headfirst into the industry and try to make it out alive with your soul. You know what I mean? Which 9 times out of 10, you're probably not going to make it out, and you're going to be crushed, and you may not come out, the same person. And the other way is, I guess there's like 3 ways. Is that to just do the industry? The other way is to kind of like be independent and totally avoid industry, which is possible, but sometimes like that is way harder for people to find, and you may not be able to make an impact really on changing the system, right? Or the industry. There's really no impact on the system, which is totally cool, and that's totally okay, because you're born with the system already being there, right? Or the industry already being there. So you're kind of like born into this thing, and you can make that choice of whether you want to. It goes hand in line with art. With you should be doing it out of the love for it, or wanting to share a piece that means something to you, right? And not for financial gain. And that being totally cool is, dude, that's totally great. You know what I mean? There's also, I think, like a middle ground almost of being independent and creating your own thing. And obviously, like there's with movies, it's I think it's similar to kind of music where, the format is the same, right? Like there's a movie's a movie, a song is a song, an album is an album. I mean, you can get creative with like the way albums are and EPs and stuff like that. You can get creative that way. And kind of differentiate yourself that way. But with a movie, it's like you can kind of make a shorter movie, you can make a longer movie, you can make 3 parts or something. Like there's less to kind of work with, but so you're kind of stuck into this industry thing, right? Which is, I think those are both similar, I think that makes sense. But with that, you can also, the third way is, create your own independent group. Create your people, like still make things of the quality of the industry, right? It doesn't like follow, it follows maybe the format, but it doesn't follow the content of it. So the content of, we still are going to make stories about what we want to talk about. We're going to make things that mean something to us, right? But just because it's not like made in LA and Hollywood and with these fucking actors that have just been indoctrinated for 20, 30 years, it's like, you're worthless? No. Like we have our own people. We're making good shit because there's great actors all over the world. And that's the truth. Like, but we're also gonna like use the industry in a way, and not just like, oh man, my girl's calling me.
It's Tuesday though.
I know. I forgot to record yesterday.
Oh my gosh. Are you there right now?
Yeah, I'm doing a solo episode.
Are y'all in the middle of it?
I'm doing a solo episode.
Solo?
Dave's not here.
Whoa. Wait, so what are you doing?
Just talking. You're live right now if you wanna say something. Or ask a question. I got 10 more minutes.
Give me a second. Put me on the spot. What? This is the question, by the way.
Okay.
What is your proudest achievement?
Oh, that's a good one. I'll answer it and then I'll hang up because I want to finish the 10 minutes and I'll call you, all right?
Okay,
all right.
You can hang up and answer.
No. I'll answer now. It's our first Margot appearance on the You're Here podcast. What do you have to say, Margot?
Hi.
There we go. Perfect. I think at this point in life, I think I'm most proud of sticking to my sticking to my like core outlook and like what I wanted to like do at this point in life. And I can get into it a little bit. I think I've talked about it before on the podcast a couple times, but
I think so too.
yeah.
I probably have already asked this before, but I still just like hearing you say it.
Oh, well, that's nice.
I want you to talk about the things that make you feel good about yourself.
Oh, thanks, babe. I appreciate it. Well, since you know, I can hang up.
Okay.
No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Let me answer at least a little.
It's okay.
No, let me answer a little.
Good.
Let me answer a little bit. Okay. Hello? You didn't respond. One thing I'm definitely proud of, I'll give a couple things. I'm definitely proud of sticking to, keeping the fort down in America for my family when, they were planning to do a lot of things and move and, having a place for them and taking care of their things while they can, go figure things out elsewhere. And being the rock of America for my family because there's no one else. And I, had to make a tough decision to give up kind of things I wanted to do or whatever, like my personal selfish kind of reasons of what I wanted to do, which weren't that, realistically, it wasn't that, planned out and everything. So, but it was giving up a little bit, I guess. So I'm proud of that, definitely. I'm really proud of the podcast. This has been, like a 5-6 year ordeal almost now. And I feel like we're never going to stop doing it. And I'm kind of happy that we're not going to stop. And I'm just excited for where it can go. And possibly if things grow for us, in other ways that we can kind of funnel it back into here, or we can just keep this, like at the end of the day, if this stays the same way it is forever, then we're going to be happy with it. Me and Dave have grown to just, be best friends and just be here for, just to come every week and hang out. Even because like if we didn't probably like do that and agree to meet every week, then we probably wouldn't, because, we're both busy. We both have shit going on. And the fact that we did this has grown into so many different things and avenues and meeting so many different people. Like it's just been a blessing. So I'm proud of that. Did you know that, Margot? How would you rate my answer?
And it's really sweet. The first one I think is such a great point, and it's very true.
Thank you.
I had to take a lot of in my opinion, selflessness. Especially because I did the exact opposite, where I was like, I'm gonna go somewhere else for 5 years. Even if it's not the smartest thing.
Yeah.
So not only is it selfless, but what is that word? I guess self-control too, in a sense, or I don't know.
I think the opposite of selfless is selfish.
I know, I said selfless.
Yeah. I thought you were looking for the opposite.
No, I'm trying to think of like another word for it.
For selfless. We can look up a synonym. Well, I guess, you know what? I don't have to continue my last conversation. I'm at 58 minutes, so we're good. We'll just have a little Margot appearance at the end. I like this.
I didn't mean to interrupt whatever train of thought you were having.
No, it's all good. I was just talking about Kendrick Lamar and Drake.
Oh, that's important stuff, babe.
No, it's not.
It's important to my man.
I appreciate that. I know no one's going to care about that. That's so funny.
I care about.
Well, you know what I was talking about? You know what? We can end it off together. Okay.
Finish complimenting your answer.
Okay. Thank you.
Then also your second one. I do think the podcast can just show how much of an achievement it is. Not in any measure. Of course, there are ways to measure it, but the fact that like you guys get so much fulfillment out of it, I think, is like the best way to measure it, in my opinion. And so the fact that you both do get that from it, I think, just shows that.
Yeah, but we're not making money, Margot, and that means we're failures.
I don't know how to say that.
No, I'm joking. I agree with you 100%.
I don't think
and thank you.
money is.
I know. I was just joking. I was just joking. I was just joking.
Well, yeah, I know you are, because you wouldn't have said one of your proudest achievements if it was the case.
Yeah, it's funny because yeah, no, I'm just teasing you. That is one of the things we've always struggled with, though, where we're like, what's the point? Which is human, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. You always fall into little pitfalls. But let me wrap. Is that all the compliments? And I thank you for that. Thank you so much for those.
And you're wonderful.
Oh, thank you. And you're beautiful. And I love you. Let's wrap up the Kendrick and Drake thing. I was basically saying,
educate me.
So check it out. This was the main point I wanted to get across. So in like industry, right? Any like art form, like let's say in music, you know, like the pop, like in pop music is like super popular and like makes a lot of money, right? Once a certain artist gets to a certain point, they're kind of labeled pop, you know, like a couple podcasts ago, Jordan was saying like, oh, like Kendrick Lamar, you can find him in like Walmart, like his vinyls, you can find him in Target. It's like right next to Taylor Swift, you know, and that's valid, right? And like that you could say that, yes, he is a popular artist, but that doesn't mean you can just discount all the things that he does, right? Where, you know, sometimes people say like, even people say pop music, like it's just like robotic, like people manufacture it. And I'm sure some of that's true, but there's probably a lot of like even Taylor Swift, like I cannot like Taylor Swift that much. But I'm sure, like, you know, I know her albums, like she writes about personal stories and stuff like that. And that's kind of what art is, you know, you write about your experiences and you create things about what you know, have gone through and how that's what you want to share to the world and people relate to that. And that's how it works, right? And I just thought it's like interesting that, you know, there's certain ways, you know, if you're someone that wants to like create, right? If you're like you want to make music, you know, like you're inspired by like an artist, like you want to make your own thing and you want to share what stories you have and what you went through, and like maybe the only way you could do it is through music or something. And there's certain ways to, you know, if you put your whole life into that, and let's say you want to become like, you know, someone that makes like profits from it or stuff like that, that's like a tough kind of line to cross, you know what I mean? So I just think it's like the character that Kendrick Lamar is like in the industry is yes, he has popular music, and yes, maybe he's made some like maybe pop songs and stuff that's more relatable to the normal person, right? But from being a big fan of this person, I think it's like more valuable for him because I feel like there's certain ways if, you know, you want to go into you could either like avoid the industry and just be independent, right? And like, that's totally cool. You know what I mean? Like that's the most pure, I think, form of making things. You could also just dive in full industry, which is what a lot of people do, and kind of like lose their soul. And then, you know, things are kind of like more manufactured, which, you know, people say is good or bad, but you'll be, you know, put into this kind of corner of, oh, like your stuff that doesn't really have any soul. But you can also kind of still be independent and like create, like have your own group, like kind of, I was relating it to the movie stuff that, you know, Dave, Adam and Jordan are doing right now in Texas. Is their whole thing is about kind of like not being a part of the industry. It's like the industry doesn't care about the art, like the small artist that has a story to tell, you know? And I think you also have the route of, you know, making your own little group and like doing your own thing and just creating things that are like super truthful and stories that you tell that are like super truthful to you and mean something and high quality, right? Like, because it's a skill, you know what I mean? Like to like painting is a skill, like all that stuff, you know what I mean? It is subjective, but you know, there is some form of skill to it all. So I think like there's a way to make your own thing and be independent, but also use the industry and like pave your own path, and not be like not have to sell your soul to be successful in your own way, you know, and kind of change the industry in a way, you know, because that's the only way it's going to ever change. Because if you just let it go, it'll maybe slowly die, or you know, someone can affect it and cause change and stir up the the industry. And that's kind of just what I wanted to get at, you know.
So question.
Yes.
Are people saying his stuff is pop?
Yeah. Well, a big argument's like, oh, like everyone's fighting that he's like, people are saying like, oh, like discounting that, you know, these are sometimes people say like, who cares? Like they're both the richest people in the world, like some of the richest people in the world. Why should we care about what they make? And why does it matter to like smaller artists or smaller people? Like none of them care about, you know, smaller artists or whatever. But that's not true. This is the only thing I'm trying to kind of get at. Because looking from the outside, you're like, yeah, these are two billionaires that, you know, the top of the Billboard charts. Like, yeah, who gives a shit? You know, like they're rich. Which yeah, sure, you could say that. But I think if you actually look into both artists and stuff like that, you can see. I just find that it's interesting that I think for Drake, like, sure, there's maybe some things that he has like stories and personal stories, but he's been accused of like having people that write his stuff for him, you know, and it's like, okay, well, that's kind of not great. And that kind of disvalues a little bit of the things he makes, but also, you know, he has his own art. And look, I like some Drake songs. I don't really listen to him anymore because, you know, he's associated with being, you know, talking to young girls and stuff. I'm not going to say anything more about that. But Kendrick, at least, like, I'm telling you, every album he has is like, he is known as like the artsy guy, you know, like he crafts these stories and things. He won a Pulitzer Prize. He's the first like musician to ever do that, you know, like it's crazy. Like he has, like I'm telling you, like his stuff is super artistic and like you can really dive deep and it's funny because he's a pop artist, but he talks about like the most like not pop things in the world, you know? So that's why it's a bit of like he's stirring up the whole thing, you know? Everyone's going, no one knows what to do. So that's what I like. And he's also just very truthful, and he doesn't like go on Twitter and like tweets at people. He like never says anything online, and he just lets the music talk, which is my favorite thing about it, you know?
That is pretty nice.
So I just thought, you know, it's fun. I like talking about it. It interests me because, you know, it's inspiring to me, and I like sharing that because I think it's a valid thing to talk about.
It is.
Yeah. Thanks, babe, and thanks for hopping on for the last couple minutes of the podcast. We're over an hour. Thank you guys so much. This has been the You Are Here podcast. Make sure you like and subscribe, and have a great day. Mine is Mike, and I'm signing out.